Greetings, everybody, and welcome to the first Tuesday version of That Game Plays Live. We've got a whole bunch of people that'll be rolling here to join us today as we get started. It's looking like those of you out there that are intrigued by the world of gaming are here. We're going to talk a little bit about Concord Studio. We're going to talk a little bit about a vice presidential person that's running for a different office right now, actually involving themselves in Fortnite. We've got so many different stories to talk about, but let's bring in some folks to talk about that stuff. As a first and foremost, we've got a good dude here that's got a great channel, and he works really hard. His name's Nolan Thunder. Good day to you, Nolan. How are you doing today?
Doing very good. Always glad to be here and amongst some amazing people. I gotta say, I'm very excited for the show being on Tuesdays now. For those who know this deep cut, I remember years and years ago when Sonic 2 first came out, they dubbed it Sonic Tuesday as like a marketing ploy. So I'd love to see Tuesday become like synonymous with gamers because it's usually not a very highly sought after day. So hey, let's make some fun happen out of it.
I think we will, and I know somebody else will help us have some fun today and cover some of these stories, and it's one of the more brilliant people that I know when it comes to gaming. He works at an interesting outlet called Bounding Into Comics, where they actually, give actual news and information and accurate things. This guy, his name is Spencer. How you doing, Spencer?
It's me, the most hated person on this network. How's it going, everybody?
I don't think that's true. I mean, you
have you seen the comments to Pro's latest video? It's 100% true.
What did you say?
I just don't like Elon Musk, and nobody likes that.
Oh, well, they need to go eat worms then. But anyway, check out Spencer at Bounding. He's the EIC of the BIC. I love it.
EIC of BIC since November 23. I had a better mnemonic device for it like a while ago. Now I forgot it.
All right. Well, I think it's wonderful. And look at all that. Look at that. We also got a couple of the folks will be joining us later. They're finishing up elsewhere. And when I say elsewhere, I mean there's another really big show that's going to be redirecting here. But we've got some stories we want to get to. I have to say, there's a story that just broke. That literally just broke out there, and we are going to cover it as soon as we talk a little bit about pretending to be gamers and pretending to get interested in games, right? And people that are actually involved in games. So we're going to pop into the first story of the day, and other people will join us. But before we do that, I want to say thank you. We got our first super duper chat of the day. That's right. A little bit of token money for the arcade. Kalikio Ketty for $5 worth of tokens says, breaking. Not sure you've seen it, but Firewalk Studios developer of Concord has been shut down by Sony. Proves if you make a colossal fail, you will be canned. Well, yeah. I mean, Concord is a colossal fail, and that's part of the news we are going to cover today. In fact, a title change required it today. We were headed a different direction, but thank you, Kalikio Ketty, for the contribution. It will be added to the scoreboard, which we will take a look at real quickly because I wasn't here on Wednesday, which was our last Wednesday stream, and there was a scoreboard from that particular week, and it seems to have been there it is. Let me pull the super duper chat down here, and we can take a look at it. There it is. This was the way we finished off not that long ago. So we'll be keeping track today. This is going to be the last day of the month, which means the platinum status that Machiny Draws has enjoyed will be disappeared on the next show next Tuesday. So keep an eye on that. Let's get to the fact that we've got this story. I don't even know how to begin. The stories, you've written a lot of gaming stories this week, right, Spencer?
Not this week, but I have in the past.
Yeah, I think you write plenty of gaming stories every week. There've been plenty out there. We're going to start first.
Been 2 days. I haven't, not yet.
Okay. Well, last week. I forget it's Tuesday. Normally by this time, there's like 7 stories, but there have been a lot of gaming stories. One of them is an interesting, policy that I'm kind of cringed about. It's the fact that, and we're not bearing the lead today. One of our lead stories, which is up in the title here, is actually is actually going to proceed. Let's get to it. I'll stop it. I'll quit talking. I want to talk about this particular story right here. Kamala Harris, the current vice president of the United States, is courting gamers using Fortnite in the last week of the presidential campaign. That's right. This is coming from IGN. Yeah, I know, but it's fine. New Fortnite creative maps supporting the campaign will make a final push for young male votes. First of all, I'm going to react to this. Do you guys think that this is going to help a campaign? You think it's going to impress? Do you think
I don't even know what the map is. Like, I've seen the story going around, but is it even anything special, or is it just another multiplayer map? Like, I don't know what I need Jonas here.
Well, so do I. But I mean, Jonas is our Fortnite expert, and he has better things to do than hang out with us right now. But there is a video available right here. IGN actually has it showing, all these flags and fake city and everything else. But in the final week before the 2024 presidential election, and in the waning hours of her campaign, the desperation is set in. To try to bring people around, such as gamers. That's right. So the Harris's campaign is launching its own Fortnite map, Freedom Town, USA. Okay. Well, you're going to be censored in Freedom Town, USA, and who knows what else. But
just like you will on Twitter. It's great. Everybody censors everybody.
Yeah, I'm really tired of that, by the way. But so anyway, they're launching it. It's Freedom Town, USA. It's a custom creative map themed around some of the Harris campaign pledges, including tax breaks for small businesses. Okay, I've never heard that before. Focus on affordable housing. It's impossible unless you mandate housing for everybody, which is very, fake. And the map can be found in Fortnite Creative starting today using a particular code. If you want to go and play on this map, it's right here. I can't imagine that many people actually doing that, but I can imagine somebody who's a Fortnite expert weighing in on this, who's going to join us as we are going here at some point of his own accord. Anyway, if we ever get
don't introduce him if he's not about to show up.
I recognize.
Oh, there he is.
Fortnite experts. What are you talking about here?
You are a Fortnite expert.
I suppose so. I do play it from time to time. Have they talked about the fact that they're going to put in that they're eating the dogs and they're eating the cats, and the Harris Waltz campaign thinks that's going to be a shoe-in for internet culture to reject that Donald Trump?
In Springfield.
It's just forgive me, I'm obviously coming into this while you're in progress here. I don't know how deep into the story you've gotten.
We just got started talking about the fact that this is a new map in the creative area that they're using as a last-ditch effort to bring in young male votes.
Do you guys think this is going to work?
I think this is desperate and is treating their user base as really, really uneducated. Like, I think they're feeling like, hey, if we get someone who's like, just turned 18 or 19, they'll see this stuff in the game and they'll make a bunch of memes about it. Like, oh, they're getting wrecked in Fortnite because of this campaign. I don't think it's going to turn out. It's like when Morbius went back into theaters because of the meme status. Like, I think it's just going to blow up in their face. I am very much against this sort of thing of letting a game with such a young user base being exposed to this kind of thing in that way. I don't think this is very a healthy thing for society, and I would prefer some stuff against it, but I really don't even see this working for the party that's desperately trying this.
It is kind of, concerning, or I guess if you're on one political side of the aisle, but this does seem to signal some kind of desperation, right? Or is that just my imagination? I don't know.
I don't know if this is something where they talk to a particular campaign strategist or something like that, and they said, you know what, we need to go where the kids are, like that Bob Iger over there at Disney, who suddenly realized that kids, play the video games, and they spend more time playing video games than they do anything else. I don't think they realize the semi-toxic nature of most video game spaces. Forgive me as I speak as a representative of video games for a moment, but sometimes this environment can be a little bit cynical. So campaigning in a video game, specifically a video game with voice chat enabled, I don't know that that's a great idea.
Well, you don't want to be playing in like the Call of Duty lobbies from like 2006 and hear a president showing up on the other end of the line.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who this is going to sway towards Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. I don't know if they're going to try to get into the games themselves, you know, sitting next to AOC like they've done with, what is it, Crazy Taxi, and there was one other one. When we think about the fact that okay, there's this picture now of Waltz that's going around, and he's sitting there, and he's got an Xbox controller, and it appears to be off. There's no lights on the controller. He's got a Mountain Dew in front of him, and he's wearing a Bass Pro Shop. Well, I don't know if it's a Bass Pro Shop hat, but he's wearing a camo hat. I think he's trying to bridge several demographics all at once here. This to me just rings hollow. If Trump did it, I don't think I would endorse it either. It's just seems kind of silly to me.
Yeah, to me, it's like, you really think this is going to drive people to the polls to support you? I don't think so. Spencer, you haven't said much.
Because I really just don't care. This is, to me, this is just another. This happens every cycle. Every cycle of since the elections begin, since the dawn of time, people have always tried dumb marketing stunts like this, and all I can ever really muster is an eye roll. Because like, your guys' points are all prescient, but I can't really muster anything past a like, who cares?
Right. No, I feel you. I completely understand that. So
I take that as Spencer agreeing with me, but in a more concentrated take.
Oh no, it is. That is an agreement with you.
Yeah, I don't think it'll have the kind of impact that maybe they were hoping for.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Yeah, I think
it's also just odd because I feel like we've brought this up before, but or at least I brought it up when like, I don't know if you guys remember, but last election cycle, Joe Biden, the Biden campaign tried to launch like an Animal Crossing map for people to go into in the DS one, and Nintendo was like, no, don't do this. But that's beside the point. The reason I bring it up is because they keep going for video games that have player bases that are primarily way under the voting age. And it just seems to me that somebody there is not doing their their research correctly. They're just going, who like video game? People like video game, do video game. And it's like, most Fortnite players are 12. I don't know, who are you going to win over with this?
Yeah. No, it's a solid point. Yeah, a solid point. I agree. There's like we're at a really weird moment in time. I mean, I know a lot of people say that, and you know, may you live in interesting times. I'm tired of interesting times. I want like regular, normal times. I want boring times. I want to, figure out how the world is actually working right now times. And I feel like we should definitely,
except for the last time that we went through this, I would say I'm looking forward to November 6th, but I'm not really looking forward to November 6th, because if we have a situation like last time, that's only going to be the start of an even more toxic news cycle. So at least they're going to stop doing ads for the campaigns after November 6th. We can at least look forward to that, and it'll all be organic, as in user-generated content that is enraging at that point, instead of ad-based content that's going to be enraging.
Yeah, at a certain point, it just becomes tiresome. I think, how long have we suffered this time? It feels like 90 days worth of ads.
Has that been it? Anyways, sorry, we shouldn't go too deep into politics. Hey, Culture, did you see the breaking news over there on that
I did, and I can't wait for you to bring this story up, because we actually did kind of bury a story here. Jonas, do you want to do the honors?
Sure. Let's go over here to thatparkplace.com. Sony and PlayStation shut down Concord developer Firewalk Studios. This by John F. Trent over there. John's looking very tan. Maybe he needs to hit the... No. Sorry. I got the attribution wrong on that photo.
Not John.
Yeah. Sony Interactive Entertainment and PlayStation Studios head Herman Hulst announced that it has shut down Concord developer Firewalk Studios about a year after it purchased it from probably monsters. I love the way that sentences work when you incorporate modern company names. In a post to Sony Interactive Entertainment's website, Hulst wrote, "As part of our ongoing efforts to strengthen Sony Interactive Entertainment's studio business, we have had to make a difficult decision relating to two of our studios, Neon Koi and Firewalk Studios." Speaking specifically to Firewalk Studios, he said, regarding Firewalk, as announced in early September, certain aspects of Concord were exceptional, but others did not land with enough players, and as a result, we took the game offline. We have spent considerable time these past few months exploring all our options. After much thought, we have determined that the best path forward is to permanently sunset the game and close the studio. I want to thank all Firewalk for their craftsmanship, creative spirit, and dedication. Okay, so I think this is two pieces of news all at once right here. First of all, bring in the third as you see fit.
The other studio.
Well, right. Neon Koi. If someone wants to bring in the news on Neon Koi in the context there right after, totally fine with me. First of all, that Concord is definitely not coming back. There's no reboot of this, despite the fact that the video this morning was literally saying that Concord has one more chance. We were talking about the Amazon series that is yet to come out called Secret Level, which will be featuring Concord. I don't know if they're going to pull the plug on that now. It's going to be a very interesting footnote in video sometime soon. That it's just kind of there in the same way that the Star Wars Holiday Special is just kind of hanging out there. Everybody is able to see it, but it doesn't really matter when it comes down to it, except for, of course, the Boba Fett cartoon. So Concord is gone. They have essentially spent, I'm going to say, around $400 million based off of the rumors that we're hearing from, I want to say, semi-reliable sources. So $400 million factored in against, I want to say, probably an effective tax rate around 30%. They're going to be able to take a 30% write down on this. So $130 million rather than the $400 million and hoping that they make a profit on it. Not counting the fact that Firewalk Studios is now going to be liquidated. This will open them up so that they could do impairment charges and things like that. I feel really bad for the people at Firewalk Studios who probably saw the writing on the wall here. But of course, that is news item number 2, that Firewalk is going away altogether. Was there any news on those people already being reassigned?
Well, we knew they were moving teams around. I can't say that there was specific word, but I'd heard that. I can't even cite the actual thing, but it was something that had been out there in the world.
Continuing on with the story here, Herman Hulst, who apparently was a champion of this game internally. He's the head of Sony Interactive Entertainment, for those who didn't catch that detail. Hulst then added, the PvP first-person shooter genre is a competitive space that's continuously evolving, and unfortunately, we did not hit our targets with this title. We will take the lessons learned from Concord and continue to advance our live service capabilities to deliver future growth in this area. What do you think some of those lessons might be?
Don't spend a bunch of money on a game that's aimed at a very niche audience, maybe?
I don't know. Do they believe this was for a niche audience? I think they thought that this was a major hit that they had on their hands here. The reports were that they thought of it as their own Star Wars, which it turns out to be more of an apt comparison than I think they intended it.
I don't even think this is close to hitting the cultural significance of Star Wars. If anything, this game's going to be remembered as that game that was on the shelves for like a week, and you're going to be at the video game conventions about, I don't know, a good 5 years from now, and you're going to see it for like $200, and you're kind of on the fence if you want to buy it or not for the collector's sake, since the game won't even run anymore. But I think this is just going to be a warning for where games need to go in the future. When you, not that there's no audience for a game with that kind of directive, but if you just keep putting crazy budgets on these type of games that aren't going to appeal to a mass audience, it's going to blow up in your face. I think the developers behind it, who are unfortunately, losing their jobs as a result of this. I do think this is one of the few games I've seen in recent years in the West where I feel like the people behind it were pretty tight-knit and very big on the cause for what they were doing. Unfortunately, though, I think they just had way more budget than this game had any business needing, and I think this will be a cautionary tale.
Yeah, and I think that what I want to take away from this is that you can spend $800 million between buying the studio and further developing the game. But it was when they pivoted from the original design and layout and everything else they had for this game that they really courted disaster, because this game had been under development for a long, long time. And in order to pivot, they had to bring in a lot of outside talent, pay a lot of extra money to get things done. And I mean, we've been covering now Firewalk Studios, Sony, and this game specifically for several months now, both on this channel, that Park Place, and of course on Bounding into Comics. The amount of stories that were coming out about this is almost embarrassing, because almost all of them kind of showed the indications that this was going south quickly. I don't know. What do you guys think? Am I wrong?
No, I think you're totally correct. And also Valiant Renegade also covering it over there.
Yeah.
When you spend $400 million and essentially have nothing to show for it, it's a fascinating thing, because they wouldn't pull a movie from theaters after 3 days, or what was it, 10 days altogether. They might send it straight to digital and try to scrape up a few more dollars there. They didn't put this thing free to play. They already had the $30 or actually $40 of discs. Sorry, a $40 purchase in order to get Concord on either disc or digital. And now those physical ones are basically coasters at this point. They didn't open it up to be free to play and charge for the skins at some point. They didn't do the steps to try to rework this. They didn't go through and just turn all the characters into hot people and try to re-release it and see if that was the problem. They just said, no, we're washing our hands of this, and that's it. And what's more, all of these people are without jobs now. I'm trying to understand the business case at this point, whether or not, the Japanese overlords above Sony Interactive Entertainment came in and said, Herman, you done goofed.
Yeah, this is an expensive goof, though. You think about it. The game, upwards of $400 million reportedly, and the studio about the same to acquire it from what was that? Some kind of monster thing. What's the name of that company?
Probably Monsters.
Probably Monsters.
That's right. So yeah, it's an awful lot of money to spend on this kind of a thing that you were unsure about, pushing your own IP. And then pushing an agenda behind that IP that was shown to be bad idea genes for so long. Sorry. It just is. That's the truth.
I still have yet to find something that Neon Koi, the other studio mentioned in this, has worked on. They are apparently a mobile division within PlayStation Studios. Used to be called Savage Games or something to that point.
That was what I was noticing too, Jonas, is that they don't have any record yet. Like, there's no games under their belt or whatever. They really just have a website. That combined. So when I step back for a second and I look and I see, okay, Sony just shut down Firewalk Studios and Neon Koi in the same breath. And all they talk about in here is Concord. Now, Neon Koi is a mobile developer, like you just stated. As we know from before, they wanted Concord to be this multimedia experience. Ipso facto, I'm guessing that this Neon Koi was probably either acquired or founded to help support some sort of mobile Concord, and maybe not like Concord like not a full on port of it, but like a mobile game, like a mobile type. I don't know, like Concord Go or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right. Like those very low res versions of Fortnite, for lack of a better
exactly. Right.
example.
Yeah, you're not gonna get the full Concord on here, but you'll get something.
And Whew, what a rough
and that's
news
just
day for these people as well.
speculation, guys. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm going to point out, so a little bit of history on Neon Koi. It was bought as Savage Game Studios in November of 2023. It was renamed to Neon Koi. But earlier that year, PlayStation Mobile, which was apparently one of the names inside of that, the boss of Savage Game Studios, left the company with less than a year after it had been acquired. So you never know if that's someone who was already intending to leave versus someone who they got into a more corporate system and was unable to function and was asked to leave. So let's see here. If I am following the dates correctly, August of 2022 is when that purchase was made, and it was Michael Katkoff who was the CEO and one of the founders of Savage, which then became Neon Koi. Why they say, you know what, we need a name change. We're going to go with, what are we going to go with? We're going to go with Neon Koi. Okay. That's an interesting name for a Berlin studio, but here we go. I think you probably have a good point there. If both of these are swept up in the same motion, it does two things. One, it does hint at them being related, or it could be something where it sounds like they were already thinking about getting rid of somebody, and instead of being in the news twice for shutting down studios, they would rather
did
be
it all at once
in the news, once for shutting down studios. They don't use the Disney technique where they announce one good thing and one bad thing at the same time. They announce two bad things at the same time. So I don't know that I'm sad to see Concord disappear and go on that one last firewalk here. I am sad for the people who have lost their jobs here. Hopefully they will find work in other divisions. He speaks very past tense here. Let's see if I can find the language. We have decided to take the game offline beginning. This is the history, and we've already gone over that. Ryan Ellis, I don't know if he has a history. Any future here at Sony, but it sounds like probably a no-go as well. Is there anything we need to add to the Concord story before we move on to our very wonderful community here?
Well, I can say that I don't think I've seen any games from Savage Games or from Neon Koi.
No,
so
nothing.
That's what we were saying. For
a studio. No, I heard that. I was just saying I went looking like all the way back to their history when they started in 2020, and for a Germany and Finland studio, they certainly didn't produce anything. I can imagine you're going to get rid of them because nothing came of it. So
I mean, here's again to go to what Spencer was talking about. Again, this is August of 2022. This is a post from Herman Hulst. And right down here, I hope you'll join me in welcoming Savage Game Studios into the fold, and that those of you who enjoy mobile gaming in addition to console or PC will look forward to what they have in store. They're already working on a new, unannounced AAA mobile live service action game. It's too early to reveal more, but I'm so excited for what they'll be able to. That's an interesting
Concord
phrasing.
Go.
It does make sense. Or maybe the entire studio has whiplash. Sorry, PlayStation Studios has whiplash on the idea that it was the live service game that was the problem here. Sometimes that happens. So, all right, moving on here. I don't know how many super chats you got before I came in here, but Ruby Hook for $2.
There you go.
May everyone have a great day. No, you, Ruby. You have a great day.
Please.
I refuse to have a great day unless Ruby does. I'm making my stand right here.
Agreed.
Ruby Hoove.
John JID for $1.99. Kamala's in Fortnite. Trump's doing Mickey D's. It's all dumb.
It is all dumb. Thank you, John. It is all dumb.
Reach it.
I bet those fries weren't salted enough too. Tanil89 for $2. Ahoy there, fellow bros. Tell me about teabagging. That happened in a match that I was in recently. I'm like, really? Are we back here? Going back to the Halo 2 days?
Right.
Yep.
Hey, it worked.
Yep. Pinochet's Helicopter Tours for $2. Remember the billboard and tomatoes from 2020? I do not remember the tomatoes.
Yes, we'll have no tomatoes.
Also, someone joining the fold here. Marvin, We've already talked about Kamala and Fortnite. We're now talking about Concord.
Oh, time's going about Concord. All right.
Yep. And we're now on the super chats. Just to catch you up. Also,
I'm caught up.
We've been overtaken by a race of lizard people. Pinochet's helicopter tours for $2. Is DEI being used to launder money / crash the economy? It's possible. I think there's a lot of money being thrown at things that are not proven because people are being silly.
Yeah, lots of silliness.
Do you think the money launderers will ignore something just because there's DEI involved? I don't think so. So I can't attribute motive, but when there's a lot of money moving around doing nothing, I don't know whose hands are clean in that. Probably. To Neil89, aka Dislikes Puns, for $10, and I want to say thank you for your 10th super chat. I guess the Concord folks will have to fall back on their previous careers as grocery store checkout bagging and toll booth operators. I wonder if they can still indulge in all that sanctimony there.
Well, they just they can complain about people's polluting automobiles.
True. Or they can give you a dirty look when you say plastic instead of paper.
Ooh.
Pinochet's helicopter tours for $2. Dear DEI Studios, we have crops that need picking. Also, I'm going to say that agriculture is honorable work. So
that's wonderful.
Yep. Jacob Foxfires for $5 got to remind people that the 400 million was before advertising, probably including the Secret Levels episode. Also, that was not including the cost of buying Firewalk Studios.
Nope.
So, Packing Protons for $2. Off topic, but rest in peace, Terry Garr.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Just a couple hours ago.
Happened while we were live before.
Oh, that's tragic.
I've been live all day. I don't know about you.
I have too.
That's very true. And Terry Garr was in Young Frankenstein, right?
Yeah, and Tootsie.
Yeah, and many other things. It was great.
Yeah, a little crush on Inga back in the day. Samuel Maine with a $3 super sticker. I cannot see it. I am in the wrong account.
Oh, it is a pair with a thumbs up.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Samuel Maine. You're the Samuel Maine man. Ryan Matheson for $4.99. How bad does the woke infection go when amputation is the best choice? I'm going to speak in a very cultural sense here. If you have a culture that you are trying to change for an entire organization, if I had to guess, and I don't know how many people were actually at Firewalk Studios, but the magic number I've heard to it referred to as some of my sources in the industry, the 200 is usually the number of people at a studio of that, say, caliber. If you think there's
between the two studios, just real quickly, they lost less than 200 employees, somewhere around 172, I believe it was reported.
Oh, that's right, because they did end up hiring out a lot of that work. That was one of the issues here for Firewalk, which is why it cost so much, which is why they might have had to rehire all those consultants to figure out what happened. What a mess. Anyways, if it was an internal cultural problem that was causing this, and they identified it as a cultural problem, yes, amputation is probably the best route. Instead of some higher level executive at the top of Sony trying to figure out who's good, who's bad, and then trying to weed that out in exit interviews, for lack of a better way to do it, it sounds impossible to me. The word "let that sink in" comes to mind as an example of one person going through and trying to change the culture of a company. So Ruby Hove for $2, having a great day, enjoying the show.
Excellent. See,
I tried to change the culture of our company, but he said he would not shave that beard.
Well, I actually, you may get your wish. I gotta trim it down. I gotta go to the dermatologist. So we'll see how much I have to lose.
What does a dermatologist know about follicles?
It's a pimple popper.
It's not the follicles, it's the cancer that I'm trying not to have. So,
okie dokie. To Neil89, aka Dislikes Puns, for $5, they'd better utilize as landmine disposal with a mallet. All right, guys, remember they're human beings, and some of them might just be following orders.
Some of them were wearing wonderful imitations of people suits. So
I know you're all joking out there. I try not to joke too much when somebody's losing their livelihood, because that can be a very scary thing. But I would hope that the higher ups who asked them to do all of this stuff and greenlit all this stuff would have the spine to tell them, this design's not great. Maybe change that.
Well, but
in
Jonas,
the end, it's the responsibility of the person at the top of the company to say, this isn't working, and it is my responsibility to make sure this thing makes some money.
But they have polluted their corporate culture, these studio culture, because they all it is toxic positivity. Believe it or not, that actually exists, and it really does exist in studios like this. And it was called out for this particular game at this particular Sony studio. They didn't want to hear anything about the character designs. They didn't want to hear anything about the undercooked nature of what they were providing. They ignored it.
We're seeing it now at BioWare too, and we're going to see how that's going to go for them.
Not well. I can't wait for your review.
Oh yeah. I did. By the way, I did play. I did finish Sonic Shadow Generations. If you guys want to talk about that later.
How was that?
If we have time.
I think we will get to it here. I did want to lighten the mood a little bit by talking about dysentery. You guys know what dysentery is? Anyways, you might, and it might be told to you in the form of a musical number. Oregon Trail action comedy is in development at Apple. This is an exclusive for the Hollywood Reporter.
Why?
I think it could be fun. I don't know. Will Speck and Josh Gordon are attached to direct, with Pasek and Paul producing and providing original music for the project. I'm just going to point out, these are the guys that are behind The Greatest Showman and some other things along that line.
All right. Which celebrities would be the worst celebrities to have in this? I'm going to say Josh Gad. Josh Gad, Jack Black, all people I want nowhere near this.
I think it's a fair statement, but let's before we go fan casting all the people we hate here, let me get at least the first few paragraphs in. Grab your wagons and oxen and get ready to ford a river. A movie adaptation of the popular grade school computer game Oregon Trail is in development at Apple. I'm also going to point out Oregon Trail. That is a video game. I don't know if you guys have noticed that here. But Apple also did the Tetris movie, which I haven't seen, but I hear has fantastic reviews. The studio landed the film pitch, still in early development, that has Will Speck and Josh Gordon attached to direct and produce. EGOT winners Benj Pasek and Justin Paul will provide original music and produce via their Ampersand production banner. Sources tell The Hollywood Reporter that the movie will feature a couple of original musical numbers in the vein of Barbie. The Lucas brothers and Max Reisman are set to pen the screenplay about the game that is meant to mimic 19th century pioneer times, following a covered wagon heading west. And then there's a little bit of history of Oregon Trail and some of the other things that these people have worked on here. What's the best case scenario? What's the worst case scenario on an Oregon Trail movie?
Best case scenario would be if somehow they can finagle their way into the theaters, and I so want to see the headlines like 2 years from now where they have like the newest, like biggest blockbuster sequel, and it's like, guys, we're getting beat by the dang Oregon Trail movie. Do better.
Worst case scenario: Josh Gad and Kevin Hart.
Oh, you forget about the guy that was Tenacious D, Jack Black.
Oh yeah, that was in there too.
Well, I don't know. I don't think they're going to get Jack Black for this, because this is going, if it's Apple that's paying for it, it's probably not going to go into theaters. Or maybe there is a possibility that Apple changes their business model at this point. They did put Napoleon in theaters with
they probably
Ridley
also
Scott.
want to change their like they would want to avoid any comparisons between that movie and Jumanji. So they'd probably avoid like Kevin Hart, Jack Black, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
hopefully
that would be like the same premise.
That's a very fair point. And also, whatever is going on with Minecraft right now, it seems to be universally rejected by at least the grown-ups. I haven't heard anything positive out of the kids.
Have you? But I think that speaks. Have you heard anything out of the kids about it? That to me speaks volumes.
I'm going to say my brief survey of those closest to me, none of them seem to be excited for the Minecraft movie. They just want to. They're really excited about Sonic the Hedgehog, Super Mario Brothers movie 2. anything
forget
random.
Ramusin, forget Pew. This is the only polling I trust.
I mean,
it's
fair
kids.
enough. They're more excited about the Shadow anime that was released on the YouTube channel for Sonic the Hedgehog than they are about the Minecraft movie. So yeah,
somebody put one up that I completely had overlooked. Pedro Pascal would be a worst case scenario. The Oregon Trail movie plot is Pedro Pascal has to take a child, through the Oregon Trail in a lone wolf and cub story.
What's the over under on a dysentery joke in here? I mean, it'll be in the
trailer.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Marvin. It's going to be the trailer joke. Yeah,
yeah,
it's probably going to be the main thing in the movie they'll have to overcome. Honestly,
that's how you ford a river, right there.
Who do you cast as dysentery then?
Who's the most
Cynthia
toxic
Erivo
actor we can find?
Cynthia Erivo or whatever her name is.
Yeah, Cynthia Erivo will be dysentery.
I was not expecting that out of Spencer today. That
was fire.
Yeah.
Simu Liu will be cast as dysentery.
I'm leaving.
Why?
That is beautiful.
I don't know. I really don't think that this is going to be aimed at a lot of kids, because I don't think most kids are going to really know what Oregon Trail is. And I'm a type of person that I do think kids know a lot of nostalgia type things. I mean, they have access to YouTube. They've been putting up with remakes for the past 20 years. But I really don't think Oregon Trail was one that really hit big with the kids with like a second or third life. I think this is going to be aimed at adults. And am I the only one here who thinks that this movie might actually be pretty good if it's anything like how the Tetris movie played out for them? Like, I could see this being a success.
I think this has potential.
Oh, yeah. I think that there is a lot of potential for a movie like this. And again, Pasek and Paul, I think they're quality songwriters. They have what it takes to get into people's heads.
They did Lyle Crocodile.
And I hear that was good. Many parents asked me if that one was woke, and I had to tell them, no, I didn't see it. But generally speaking, heard good things. That's the death knell right there, when you can't even muster the interest of the cultural watchdogs to go after your film and see if it's woke.
Don't attempt to ford the river, guys. It never works.
Do I need to teach you guys how to ford the river here? Anyways, that being said, the thing that I learned when I was in school was ignore all the historical sites and get through them as quickly as possible if you actually want to beat the game before the computer lab time is over. But that being said, we do have some more super chats here, and it's Kamchi back again for $4.99. The situation with Nintendo got worse with Mercury Studio, possible woke studio, on DEIing Metroid. Nintendo fired 150 workers and use Silent Room.
What?
Silent
Keep
Room.
them away from Samus Aran, please.
That's actually the tactic. There's a tactic to get rid of people. Yeah, that's a tactic to get rid of employees.
Well, we have a Silent Room story that is from Bounding into Comics that we might be getting to in a little while. Talking about Bandai Namco. This wasn't exactly the word that I was thinking we would use for it, but it is on the list if we want to talk about that. So as far as this goes, Nintendo exercises so much creative control over their products that the only place that it can come through is in localization. So obviously, Super Mario, Paper Mario, the 1,000-Year Door, there was a little bit of stuff where the localizers were able to use subtle cultural differences and push them very much towards modern day American social issues, Western social issues. And I think the reaction was not very good from the audience on that. It'll remain to be seen whether or not Retro Studios is going to allow for whatever's going on with Mercury Studio to affect the development of Metroid Prime 4. I'm hopeful that it's not. I do have to say that I'm expecting it more than I was before I heard this announcement. So I'll need to look into Nintendo firing 150 people and putting them in that situation. Tanil89 for 5. I'm being mean about it because it seems like they were full of sanctimonious true believers. Yeah, yes. I'm sorry. I gave you too much of a hard time there. I'm always wary because I do think that one day I'll find myself on the other side of an internet mob, and I don't want people to celebrate.
But you did. But you did.
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
Black Girl Gamers came after you.
Well, that's different. That's like one actual employee of that company, and she just said she was going to sue us, and then went away around the time that Ron Coleman showed up. Interesting.
Bye-bye.
Butterbiscuit 92 for $5. Everything else is irrelevant. Marvin, how was the Shadow campaign? The powers looked sick.
Probably the most fun I've ever had playing a Sonic game. And that's saying
wow,
because I love Sonic.
Are you including Sonic 2?
Wait, where's my review?
A 3D Shadow game. I'll say that much.
Culture knows his priorities.
You're getting it. You're getting it right now.
All right.
Okay.
There we go.
I will attempt to do to put something together for you, Culture. It's just been a very busy week. I don't know if you know, I'm getting married this weekend. But
congratulations.
Thank you. But yeah, the shadow levels are just so much fun. Probably I'll put it this way, just most fun I've ever had playing a 3D Sonic game.
Okay. I can accept that a lot more. Even though
the powers were incredible. I really like how they kind of incorporated Sonic 06 while still kind of keeping the fact that it was like removed from canon. Because like there's a boss fight from Sonic 06 in there, and
did
the boss
play
like
the
says
original
something
generations, Marvin?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay.
I didn't beat it, but I played it, which just shows you how much I enjoyed
that's what
the
I was
original.
Gonna say, like, because I was gonna say, like, oh, if you're surprised by that, like, that's how it's always been. It's crazy. They've never officially like shunted 06. It's wild.
There's like a line where like one of the bosses says something to Shadow, and Shadow's like, "Who the heck are you?" which was nice of them to actually keep the continuity that Sonic 06 got yeeted from
the official
happening.
Canon. Yeah.
And that's an improvement from the original game, because in the original, Silver just shows up as a boss and everyone's like, oh, he's always been here. Crisis City, this is all the same.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's other things about Sonic 06, since we're Shadow Generations that we could talk about. One of our reviewers on that place pointed out that they took out the fat joke on classic Sonic that Knuckles made. So,
did they?
Yes, they did. There was a moment in the original Sonic Generations. It's funny to say original Sonic Generations when it's already a remix of existing content. But that little potbelly, Knuckles makes fun of it at some point in the original, and in this one, it just doesn't happen. Or there's a face palm that Sonic does in the original, doesn't happen in the new one. Weird stuff.
Is that they changed the dialogue for him to change it from the fat comment to being about his island, like Angel Island. But the weird thing is they didn't change Sonic's animation. So after he asks about his island, he still looks at his stomach in shame. So now it's like, what are we implying here?
Maybe he was hungry. Maybe he wanted a chili dog.
Island. Speaking of things that ate the island here, there's a Hungry Hippo super sticker.
Hey, Daryl, what's up?
For $2, and it is a hippo eating a 1-up. Thank you very much, Daryl the Derelict from the Vac Tube. I appreciate it. Butterbiscuit for $5. Everything else is irrelevant. Marvin. Oh wait, we already read that one. I do think the Shadow stuff is a good addition. Plus, story-wise, I think they did a good job with the cutscenes. To Neil 89, aka Dislikes Puns, for $5. Like how I'd celebrate the bankruptcy of an ethics committee endorsed by the bad people. Yeah.
Dun, dun, well, dun. Congrats on your 10th super chat, by the way.
Oh yes, thank you again for your 10th super chat. To Neil 89 for $5. Jonas is cheating. He forded the river back in the day. It's what let him skip the Donner Party.
Oh boy!
I bet there's going to be a Donner Party joke in this one, just like Wagons East.
Yeah.
John Candy, R.I.P. You also have to remember that Oregon Trail, it was either that or Number Munchers. So back when you're talking the Apple II days, it wasn't like we had a huge, wide variety of games to choose from when we got into that computer lab. Also, you got to be very careful with those floppy disks that were actually floppy and sticking them in the drive. It wasn't an exact science. It didn't click like those 3.5-inch floppies, which were not that floppy. So it was a whole experience. And plus, you sounded like you were breaking it when you turned it on. It made a horrible noise. And the only difference is it made an even more horrible noise when you inserted it incorrectly. So, you know, it really was an experience back in the day. Kamchi for $4.99. It was possible they may have Alt Samus design. News on firing was from Yellow Flash reading the leak news. Still working on the letter for Nintendo. Okay, we'll look into it. I appreciate it, Kamchi. So, what was our next story? I was so focused on these super chats that I know the one we need to talk about, and I think everyone here on this channel should have an opinion that agrees with mine.
Oh boy,
I'm just kidding. Here we go from Insider Gaming. The U.S. Copyright Office shoots down video game preservation effort.
Oh man.
This from James Taylor Hill over there at Insider Gaming. The U.S. Copyright Office has determined that it will not alter existing DMCA rules to allow for the preservation of video games in repositories and archives across the country. This news comes following a 3-year battle by the Video Game History Foundation to desperately find a path to preservation for games that are in danger of being lost forever. Previously, the organization revealed that around 87% of all games released before 2010 are virtually inaccessible owing to changes in technology, consumer habits, retail operating models, and the simple passing of time. That is an unfathomable number.
To quote the great Dr. Jones, it belongs in a museum.
It really does. This is the sad thing. Right here, and we never. I'm not endorsing piracy here when I say this, but video game preservation is a very important thing. Nintendo obviously just shut down an emulator for the Switch, and I think one of the reasons that went through, and probably one of the only reasons they're interested in it, is because the Switch is current generation. They're also the only studio right now that isn't also putting their stuff on PC after the fact. So that figure right there, 87% of all games released before 2010 being virtually inaccessible. It seems like an unfathomable number. Can someone help me figure out why that might be?
Well, for one thing, a lot of the original shops that used to house these older games and their services and stuff like that end up getting shut down themselves. It happened with the Wii Shop channel, happened with the
Xbox Live.
Xbox Live. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Even some that aren't even like 10 years old, like they're still under 10 years old from when they last were able to provide the services, like the Wii U Shop. That system was a bust, so that's gone.
Some of them weren't even 10 days old, and then they were lost forever.
So I can weigh in on why that number is so high, Jonas, and it actually does have less to do. It actually has very little to do with virtual consoles and eShops and all that stuff. So what it really is that there is no preservation or archive or any sort of system for video games. So once a video game is completed, once it's out there, nobody is under any obligation to keep the files, which is why you see when they do a lot of remakes or remasters, a lot of times studios have to rebuild things from the ground up. And so what this is specifically saying, the reason so many games are lost are because those are the games that aren't being put onto your virtual consoles, onto all this stuff. So while, yes, we're all thinking of I can get Kirby, I can get Mega Man. Well, there's a bunch of, where's Cool Spot? Where's Chester Cheeto? These are the kind of, they're not great games per se. They're not the games that everybody's going to rush out and say, this is why I bought an SNES, but they're still history. It's still things people worked on. So right now, all these games are just languishing. Either their files have either been deleted, the carts that they were released on are all degrading over time, as are the discs. So that's why you're finding 87% of games are lost, is because as we know now, as we can see in, walk into a GameStop, most games aren't that great, but this is still just a historical thing that you want to preserve. And also, you never know what weird workaround or what weird programming thing somebody with one of these games could have done that you could learn from way later in the future, right?
Absolutely, Spencer. And let's also not forget Flash games. We did a whole episode of the Lost Guys podcast where we were talking about
I miss those. They're gone forever.
Yeah, we did a whole episode on one-time purchases, and we brought up video game preservation up a bit, and like we've lost web games. And I'm gonna be real with you guys, it's only gonna get worse in the future because now go to like a used game store, like a Mega Replay or something of the nature. A lot of the games that came out like 10 years ago or under, a lot of those games were more along the lines of, say, Concord or the first Splatoon game, where basically, unless you're playing that game online, it's kind of a glorified paperweight because if the servers are shut down, there's less value to it. So it's just going to get more and more drastic. And I personally believe that until the day comes that eventually, where we have certain people coming around in, to certain degrees of power for the copyright system who are probably younger blood who are going to have like a personal care for this, and they're going to try to get the copyright laws changed. By then, I think a lot of it's going to be too late because a lot of people who are, very old in these kind of venues, they think like video games, they're a way of the future, just like those old Atari ads used to be. And I think by the time we get a major change, we're going to unfortunately lose a lot of games. I don't mean to bring all gloom and doom on it, but it's a topic that really needs to be taken seriously. And it's tragic to see this 3-year endeavor just fold out like that.
Yeah, I'm also going to put, you brought up Flash games, and some of those deserve to die in a fire, but not really, because we would like to have them for record keeping purposes. But of course, you can't bring up Flash games without bringing up one of probably the most important Flash series that ever existed, Homestar Runner.
True.
I miss those guys.
And of course, Strong Bad was the real reason that anyone was interested in Homestar Runner. Okay, I'll even say this: the Strong Bad cool game for attractive people that was actually released on systems back around 2008 or so. It was fun, and I loved the way that Strong Bad talks, and the fact that if there are certain things about him that you can't really do on a channel like this, but I could talk like that forever and have a blast doing it. I don't know if anyone else would enjoy it, but I really,
dude, I quote the I quote the menu, like when you would go to the home page and go over all the buttons, and Homestar Runner would like say things. I quote that all the time, like the tunes game, email.
Remember the email version of Strong Sad, that when he would fly by, he would go, "I'm sad that I'm flying."
I'm sad that I'm flying. I say that one all the time too.
So, and there were games within that system, whether or not it was the Homestar Talkinator, or my favorite was the King of Town special edition DVD. Anyways, this is something that is essentially lost at this point. I know there are DVDs of it, but it's not the same thing. It was basically an interactive web comic, and I don't know if we're about to get a new Homestar Runner Halloween special. The Brothers Chaps were still doing some of those, but as it often does, it returns to that one game that keeps getting brought up here. Many gamers appreciate a blast from the past. It's why some games do so well when they are remade, or when modern variants introduce elements from past releases. Fortnite OG, I'm looking at you. Yes, the original Fortnite is essentially lost. There is a Save the World mode or whatever that you can get access to, that I don't know how long they'll actually maintain that. But the original seasons of Fortnite, they only come back as a limited time option here to try to boost numbers. And when they do show up, it actually causes record-breaking usage on their servers. So this does bring up the idea of games as a service. Obviously, Concord, the data is out there, but you essentially can't use it until they activate the server side of it, which they will not be activating the server side of it. At this point, I think from a matter of historicity, it would be good to know what exactly was in Concord. I can understand why Sony wants that to go away forever, but I'll give you, for instance, Astrobot. I don't know how many of the games in Astrobot that they reference are actually available on disc in any way to use on current systems in PC.
Oh, a bunch of them aren't, like Legend of Dragoon.
I love that one.
Yeah,
another one
Culture,
that
you are
recently
muted,
that
by the way.
I just figured that out. Yeah. I want to mention something that nobody's mentioning. It's the fact that there are some preservation ability. There is some preservation ability out there. Steam, for example. There's a lot of games on there that previously were only available on floppy disk. One of those being System Shock. Eventually that made it out onto CDs and stuff like that, and so CD-ROMs and all of that. But in those early '90s games, you had some very unique things. You can still play that game because of Steam. That's the only reason. Otherwise, that thing would have been lost to history. It was one of the very first games that I fell in love with. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And I was like, this is the next generation. This is amazing,
Did you play that on MS-DOS?
It was it was a 386 that I hand built. Way back in the day. So
you know what
that computer started with a floppy and got upgraded to a oh my gosh, a SCSI CD-ROM drive.
Yeah, I think the first time I played a first-person shooter was probably Wolfenstein 3D on a TRS-80 that had been donated to the 5th grade class. So
yeah, the trash 80s were great.
I just played Return to Monkey Island, which is a sequel to my favorite MS-DOS game of all time, The Secret of Monkey Island.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went on a tear trying to find a version of Secret of Monkey Island that I could still play. There's no version for the PlayStation 5 currently, and every PC version of the game does not work with Apple, and that's what I have. So it's been a frustrating search to try to find the Secret of Monkey Island, much like Guybrush Threepwood had a frustrating search to find the Secret of Monkey Island.
Yeah.
The Secret of Monkey Island is how to play it.
I also need to point out, Spencer, I interrupted you in the rudest way just a moment ago. So I'm not going to remind you of it, but I interrupted you to tell Culture that his mic was off. And I wasn't.
Oh, I didn't even catch it. I think I was at the end of my sentence anyway. You're fine. I didn't even. I noticed nothing.
One of my favorites with Secret of Monkey Island is I had it on CD-ROM, I should say, specifically, and I accidentally put it in my CD player, and track 1 didn't work, and I got impatient, and I went to track 2, and it was the full soundtrack for the game from track 2 onward, and wow. By the way, great soundtrack to that game.
Oh, fantastic soundtrack.
But let's wrap this one up here. In the retort published by the U.S. Copyright Office, which leaned on comments made by the Entertainment Software Association, it was said the petition from the VGHF was kicked because they did not propose a clear requirement to know who the users are or why they want access to a game. Earlier, the ESA said enabling widespread remote access to preserve games with minimal supervision would present a serious risk to an important market. I think that there probably needs to be some kind of preservation system here, and maybe people could reclaim the rights if it really became a thing. But there are so many games like the original Monkey Island, which is under the control of Kathleen Kennedy at this point. There's that name again. There needs to be something for people to play this in its original pixel animated glory. So
yes, I found a couple of like online emulators or whatever that was supposed to be able to let you play it, but either you couldn't save the game or it just didn't work on a Mac.
Yeah. How appropriate. You fight like a dairy farmer.
You fight like a cow.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yep. Okay. Let's get to super chats, and then we will get to my attempted pronunciation of a Japanese word. A blood drinking barn for $4.99. Your front axle has broken. Culture died from a broken leg.
Hey.
Goodbye, Culture. We're gonna have to write your name on a tombstone.
All right.
Neo for £5. There are thousands of games pre-console that are already lost, like Spectrum and Commodore games. Have they been lost, or are they all sitting on a calculator somewhere? No, you're right.
I still have some VIC-20 games on cartridge.
You know, there's something to be said for all of these arcade games that automatically bring in a feeling of nostalgia, because efforts like MAME have kept things alive for a very long time that probably would have been lost to history anyhow. So
yeah, lots of ROM readers and burners are still out there functioning perfectly fine.
Yep, they just need to exist in a place where they're willing to not advertise them on the internet.
Right.
The Mum for $1.99. Spencer hit his head on Cool Spot. On the Cool Spot, yes, was bad. Was Cool Spot bad? Was Pepsi Noid bad?
It was pretty bad.
Was
they're
Avoid
bad?
the Noid bad?
Yes, I love Pepsi Man, but that's
Yo Noid.
Yeah, I love the Noid. It was fun.
What about Chex Quest and the reboot of
I love Chex Quest. That was awful too, but I still loved it. You can like bad things. It's okay to like bad things.
Hey, I'm telling you right now, the greatest movie of all time is still Showgirls. So,
anyways, by the way, a correction here. I said Avoid the Noid. It's actually Yo Noid, and it was Capcom who made it, so it was probably pretty good. Capcom.
Wasn't there a game with the Sprite, like the Sprite dot?
Yeah,
with the
Cool
sunglasses.
Spot.
Yeah.
The Spot thing. Yeah.
Okay, that's what we're talking about.
That's
okay,
cool. That's Cool Spot. Yeah.
They were also going to make a game. Capcom was going to do a game on the California Raisins, but they yanked it because the Japanese studio found out that the Americans were doing it without them know it, and they were like, "Nope, done." So apparently, there's some drama with these.
That game came out. What are you talking about, Nolan?
What?
Yep. By the way,
oh no, it did get canceled. Never mind. It went all the way through. I thought it released. I looked it up, and I'm dumb. Don't listen to me. I read something wrong. Don't listen to me.
By the way,
Next
that is
topic.
Cool Spot for those of you who might not be aware of it. It's 7-Up, by the way. And
don't you feel good about 7-Up?
Oh yeah, right. 7-Up.
Virgin Games, right there. Little did they know how prophetic the word Virgin Games would
Oh no!
be.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Tanil89, aka Dislikes Puns, for $2. Steam databases archives also retain previous versions, but can you access them?
Right, but that's also Steam. Like we're talking about games that have not been ported. That's where most of these lost games are. These are the games that are only stuck on that console. Nobody has looked to grab again. Things like Cool Spot or the Yo Noid or Chester Cheetos whatever adventure. Like again, a lot of the popular games are always going to get ported because people like those. But the less popular games, those are the ones we need to look out for, because even bad works have merit in that you can learn from them. And you can learn what not to do, or you can look at it and go, I see how they did that. I want to do that in my game, but now I'll see how to do it right, and so on and so forth.
Yep. Also, that would be Chester Cheetah Too Cool Fool, which came out for the SNES and the Mega Drive, and Chester Cheetah Wild Wild Quest.
Dude,
which,
you are like an encyclopedia of like old bad games.
I'm more like a Wikipedia of it, and he was also in Just Dance 4. Jacob Foxfires. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, Mrs. Movie Monster checks the Game Boy Advance emulator on the Switch all the time, hoping that a Hamtaro game that she loved when she was a kid is up there.
Yeah, now. That game rules. I know exactly which game she's talking about.
Who doesn't love Ham? Anyhow, Jacob Foxfires for 10. I know it's a gerbil. Clarification: the Mercury Studios and the layoffs are unrelated. Nintendo is rumored to be running off people from the debugging team. Says there are a lot of troublemakers there, but time will tell. If it's a silent room situation, does that mean that it's a Japanese company that is doing this? Okay. We've got our research that we've got to be doing on this. And now apparently there are 2 websites involved as I point this out. Thank you very much for the $10 super chat, Jacob Foxfires. Appreciate you. The Wild Man of Yavin for $50. This makes me wonder why we don't have celebration clips on this channel.
Well, that's why, because that's the quality that I deliver.
I like that one.
That song That little jingle or whatever you want to call it always gets me hyped, as does the Wild Man of Yavin. Just got through some Dragon Age Veilguard reviews, Fextral Life, and I want to talk about it. This game actually makes me a bit angry. What in the world? I am sick and tired of this. Just saying, way to be a shoulder to cry on, please. We do have a Dragon Age story that we can talk about here, where we won't have to be as careful on this one. It is also related to Mass Effect at the same time. Maybe we should move that next into
let's do that. In honor of the $50, I wish we had celebration clips. While many haven't super chat.
Were you not there when I hit this button?
Yeah,
that's epic. I love it. Anyways, that being said, let's go over to this Mass Effect 5. Game director appears to already be doing damage control after Dragon Age Veilguard. Backlash says the game will keep photorealistic art style. Got to say that art style for Dragon Age not winning any friends right now. Mass Effect 5 game director Michael Campbell appeared to be already doing some damage control in the wake of Dragon Age Veilguard. Veilguard has been lampooned for months for its art style, and it all started in June when BioWare shared its first full trailer for the game, which currently has 2.3 million, but a massive like-to-dislike ratio with just over 47,000 likes and over 288,000 dislikes. I was unaware of this trailer. I was aware of the art style, but I was unaware of this trailer in particular. I'm trying to think what game that is that they're reminiscent of here. It looks like a game about dwarves. The game was roasted in the comments for its art style. On top of the comments, says,
they look like
that's it. That's it. Which would also explain. I tried to stay away from World of Warcraft because I have an addictive personality. I didn't know Disney bought BioWare. One comment reads. Another wrote, are you sure this is dark fantasy? Still another wrote, who bait and switch did my gory, mature, dark fantasy RPG for Guardians of the Galaxy meets? There it is. Clash of the Clans. Supercell right there. It wasn't just in the comments. Popular streamer Asmongold also trashed the game's art style, comparing it to the mobile game Raid Shadow Legends. I'm not sure if I was a guy like Asmongold that I would be mocking Raid Shadow Legends. Notice no QR code on the screen as I say this. I feel like, here we go. I feel like Raid Shadow Legends has like better graphical style than this game. I do. I really think so. He later added,
it is actually a good looking game.
Yeah, this looks like a mobile game to him. This one right here. I have to say, I'm really not a fan of the art style. What is the name of this race? I haven't. Canary, but they looked a lot cooler in previous iterations.
They were big hulking monsters in previous ones. They were like the big brutes. They were like the Iron Bull was your Canary in the last one, and now you got like Iron Them.
It's I don't understand when games make this big of a change. They want to market on the nostalgia of the previous games, but they also don't want you to remember it too hard.
The Qunari were just this fierce warrior race, essentially, and they they were governed by a very strict set of rules set down called the Qun, which there's a whole big thing about it. I won't go into all of it, but it's a fascinating society, and it looks like they just completely destroyed it.
So for those of you who don't understand the difference that we're talking about here, okay, thank you very much. This is what a Qunari looks like now. I'm assuming that's what a Qunari looks like now.
Right.
And then if you go down here, this is what they looked like before.
Yeah, that was the Arashok.
I'm going to say I don't know why you would get rid of this particular style. Because even if they are going to go for these ridiculous romance options, I can understand why they might go for a Beauty and the Beast type situation for something like that. I don't know why they would get rid of that, but apparently, go ahead.
In Inquisition, the Iron Bull pretty much looked like that. He was a big bull of a dude. You could romance the Iron Bull.
Those are words that I was not anticipating coming out of your mouth right now. YouTuber Wolfheart FPS also stated the art direction in this game is a bit of a mixed bag for me, but unfortunately weighing a bit heavier on the negative side. I'm personally not a big fan of the extra smooth plastic play-doh looking character models. Everybody seems to describe it differently. I really do think you could put some of these characters in Pixar films and they would seriously fit right in many of these films. Things just look rather G-rated. So, okay. So here are the comments from Michael Gamble. Lots of people asking me about Mass Effect now that Veilguard reviews are out and October 31 is close. Both are from the studio, but Mass Effect is Mass Effect. How you bring a sci-fi RPG to life is different than other genres or IPs and has to have different kinds of love. He may not appreciate that phrasing going forward if that's taken the wrong way. Regarding tone questions, Mass Effect will maintain the mature tone of the original trilogy. This is all I'm going to say for now. But of course, someone responds, I mean, Mass Effect has always had its fair share of humor and silliness. And he says, serious characters put in some humorous situations.
Exactly.
Reminded of Rat. Oh. So would you say this is a surprising thing for someone who presumably works for BioWare to say, nope, that's not what we're doing? I don't think he did it in a way that looked like he was mocking, but I would say he is trying to distance his game from that art style.
He does, especially because, we're going to get new information on Mass Effect next week, or probably just some cryptic image like usual, because November 7th is N7 Day, and that has been for the last couple of years the day they release something pertaining to the new Mass Effect. So he is trying to create distance between this release and N7 Day so that when he posts whatever he posts, it's not going to get a bunch of comments about how terrible Dragon Age is. It's still going to happen, though.
I gotta say, and I'm not trying to put it in every single story here, but it does. When they say this Pixar style, it's not Pixar that I'm saying. Please don't Pixar ME like you guys did with DA. Don't. Oh, so okay. They are actually asking him to respond to the Dragon Age stuff here. I'm not sure I agree with the Pixar thing, but Mass Effect is photorealistic and will be as long as I'm running it. Okay, so he avoided the question. Which is the professional thing to do.
Yes, it's a very professional answer. I think that was a very good answer that doesn't tick off your parent company while still addressing the fan concerns.
Well, and it also didn't include a bunch of word salad, which we appreciate.
Well, word salad. There's two aspects to word salad. First is when somebody doesn't know where they're going. Perhaps they're vamping for time on a live stream while somebody gets back into the chair. Then that would
be me.
Then there's the other aspect of word salad where someone is really trying not to say the actual thing that everyone knows is the truth. So it's up to our viewers to determine whether or not Michael Gamble engaged in that. I don't think he did. By the way, thank you again to Wildman of Yavin for picking what looks like is going to turn out to be our last story of the day.
Oh, here. Hey, I got to bring up the leaderboard.
You may want to. Have you already counted what's in the queue here?
Well, up until just a second ago when Jacob decided to get crazy with it. But it's fine.
All right. Do you want to put it up now and then we'll
put it up now. Just say thank you to everybody. This is incredible. Go ahead and throw it up. I want to say a special thank you to the man who just basically outpaced people. Wild Eddie Avon pulled into gold supporter level while we were going there with an amazing super chat dump all at once. Silver supporter would be T-Neil89, who just is consistently dropping knowledge on us all. And the bronze supporter for today pulled it out at the end was Jacob Foxfires in that position. We have a new leaderboard coming next Tuesday, folks, because there will be no platinum. Markini will lose his status because, we start fresh in November. So hopefully we can get y'all in here, and thank you for all the top supporters and all of the supporters and every single viewer. We appreciate you. If you're watching on the replay, do comment replay gang in the comment section below, and do check all that out. I just wanted to update that real quick and say thank you. We truly, truly mean it. You are amazing.
That is, of course, we appreciate every one of our super chatters. It really makes the show worthwhile and allows us to do more content on that gameplays, because obviously we have a lot of people on this channel that are involved in other channels. So it helps us to grow here. The Mum for $1.99. The first Alf game was on 5 1/4 Mexican Iron Man Needs. I don't know if you're referring to the 1987 Alien Productions Alf, or if you're talking about, what was it? Alf's Thinking Skills, which was rated for the Tandy, I do believe. There were a bunch of Alf games back in the 5.5-inch floppy days. 5 1/4.
Kill me. Okay, sorry.
To Neil89 for 5. Thank you very much for your 10th super chat. There was also a Doom clone where you played as the Swedish chef fighting the kitchen ingredients. And yes, you can access the Steam database. Just hard to do. What in the world?
Here more schneer, more deeper do.
There's also pork. There was on the Super Nintendo, there was like Super Noah's Ark 3D that was a Doom clone.
What?
Where you were going around.
Never heard that?
No.
The Swedish Chef Kitchen of Doom came out in 1996, and it was a mini game on the Muppets Inside CD-ROM. So, Mark Fields for $4.99. Any Kamen Rider games out there? Spencer?
There are a bunch. I don't know. Where do you want to start? I've got a bunch. I mean, the unfortunate part is that Kamen Rider games are very much relegated to Japan. We've gotten about 2 out here in the West. We got Climax Scramble and Memory of Heroes. Both very good third-person action games. I highly recommend them. But yeah, we don't get a lot. Hopefully that's going to change now that it's getting more popular over here. But the good news is you can import them all. I imported... what is it? Kamen Rider Gatak War 2, the Muso game, and I play that game like every day. So highly recommend it.
It does make me wonder if Kamen Rider had hit in that craze where they were bringing over all of the Super Sentai style shows over to America. Kamen Rider seemed like it was a little bit closer. One, they actually called it Kamen Rider as opposed to whatever they did with the Power Ranger stuff and Big Bad Beetleborgs and all those other ones. Like, I feel like there's an alternate reality in which it hit in America, and we still have a lot more.
The problem was, if you remember, Jonas, is that when they did do Masked Rider over here, they made his like cast. It was like Roseanne and like all of those like family sitcoms. It was like all of that, but then like randomly halfway through, the main kid would go like his Furby would light up, and then he would go and fight a bad guy, and then he'd come home and learn a lesson about homework. And
whoa! You're not about to bash Furbus, are you? Because Furbus was awesome. I love. Furbus.
I didn't bash him. I'm saying that's where you get that's where you get your mission from.
Yes, you get it from Furbus. Yeah.
I remember a couple of years ago, Marvin, there was this big thing. Somebody found like the original Furbus plush, or like not plush, but puppet went up on eBay, and a bunch of like Kamen Rider fans, they rallied and they were like, we need to get this. And now it's like in some like it's in a nice preserved place now. But
I was about to say, are they trying to get it to destroy it?
No, it sadly still exists, like the original Annabelle doll. It's like that.
Which the original Annabelle was a Raggedy Ann, wasn't it? Also, for just a second, I got Furbus and Flabber confused.
Flabber was awesome.
Flabber!
Space Dave 2000 for $2 Canadian. Congrats, Marvin. Remember, she's always right.
Oh, yeah, no, she's always right.
And Space Dave, you got the link. I don't know if you had time today, but to Neil89, aka Dislikes Puns, for 2. Can't wait for Liara to tell me about pronouns. Well, you only have to get the tabletop game for that one.
Oh gosh, that guy! How insufferable a human is he? And that game is gonna tank hard.
Well, that's my biggest fear with the next Mass Effect, is because with the Asari, they have an avenue to insert pronouns and stuff like that into it. It's because the Asari are all technically non-binary. They're a monogendered species. However, they're all very clearly female and have always been referred to as she, matriarch, all that stuff.
Yep. No comment. Tennille 89 for $5 more. Maybe there will be a ghost and horse romance option like that Futurama bit.
There you go.
Perhaps. Jacob Foxfires for $5. Man, the models in this game are horrendous, especially the faces. I'm waiting for an Andromeda style line to drop. I'm sorry, my face is tired.
They don't have to say it. The face is just tired. Every face is tired in this game. Holy cow.
Yeah. That is the end of the super chats for now, unless somebody beats the panel to it here. Culture Casino, we're about to lose you first because you are headed over to Mr. H Reviews.
Yeah, and I was just informed that that particular show is now a little bit off of our same time cycle that we were relying on because the UK did a clock change and we did not. So it is exactly 1 hour from now. So I'm not necessarily having to rush out of here, but I am going to promote Alarmo.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, you got
there
it!
we
I'm
go.
so jealous. I'm so
jealous.
jealous.
I got Alarmo. We did an unboxing. Jonas and I had super fun. I had to actually run off screen to go set it next to my bed so I could set it up. It was a glorious morning. This is the first day I used it this morning. So it woke me up.
What game setting did you use? Who do you?
So you're saying it's woke?
No. It woke
now culture is woke now because of
this. I used the chain bomb guy. That setting.
King Bob Bomb?
King Bob
or Chain Chomp?
No.
Chain Chomp.
Yeah, that guy. So and it does make the noise like when it starts to get really aggressive about okay, you've been playing there a little long, and it's like get up. So yeah, so I intentionally stayed in bed after my normal wake up time of 5 a.m. just so it would yell at me. So it was super fun. This thing will be a hit with people like me or kids. I mean, this is perfect for kids.
So essentially, it's a dog barking at you, right? Because that's what the chain chomp sound is.
But you have
right?
these. Okay, so here's the cool thing, right? It's got this beautiful alarm tone that wakes you up, like a little music-y thing, and then it gets a little more like louder. And by the way, when you set the volume on this thing, be mindful because by the time it gets to the wake up, it's really crazy aggressive. So yeah. And second, I went to sleep to it. It has these things called sleepy sounds. So last night I got in bed. I because it tracks your motion. So when I got in bed and laid down, it started playing sleepy sounds. I was like, yay! It was super great. So,
just start playing the Dire Docs music, and I'll be in heaven.
Oh, dude, there's we were talking about it yesterday, Jonas and I even downloaded more alarms. There's even more on there than what it comes with. It was so great.
You can do that. That's awesome.
All right. I think you need to add this onto the existing unboxing video, or maybe this will go into the review. Fenris Valhalla with a great comment. Wake up to listen.
Hey,
there you go.
So, Nolan, what are you up to, man?
A lot of projects I can't talk about yet. So I'll look for the people watching. I'll just let you know. Next Lost in the Files episode is currently projected for early spring 2025. It's taken longer than I want it to be, but I promise you, there's going to be some exciting things happening, and there's some crazy work going on behind the scenes. So I trust you. It's going to be worth it. So if you like video game documentaries about lost media, video game mysteries, horror aspects, check out Nolan Thunder on YouTube, my series Lost in the Files. It's fun, and yeah.
Awesome.
I was going to say, we got Spencer. Spencer's got to get going. So, Spencer, what's going on, brother?
That's me. Yes, unfortunately, I just have some meetings I have to go hop to. But, guys, thanks for tuning into That Game Place. It's always a pleasure for all of us to be able to come hang out here and talk video games with you, especially on such a momentous day as I guess it's the death date of Concord, the official one. So everybody, happy holidays to all who celebrate Concord Day. And until then, subscribe to everybody here on That Game Place. Nolan, Marvin, Jonas, Culture. I know we also have Loki and Space Dave whenever they're around. Go subscribe to all their stuff. Go subscribe to my stuff over on my channel. Go check out boundingintocomics.com. And now listen to what everybody else has to say. That's my best Marvin impression.
All right. Fantastic. And Marvin, you doing all right then? You
Yeah.
want to tell anybody about what you're doing tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern?
tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got Toonie Talk Wrestling. We're going to be talking about Samantha Irvin leaving the WWE. We've got a whole bunch of stuff. Dave Meltzer doing ridiculous, stupid things. Then on Thursday nights, we've got Toonie Talk TV with myself and Trish and Kevin Apollo. Nolan and Spencer are also frequent panelists on that show. So come on down and join us, folks. Thursday nights, 8 p.m. for Toonie Talk TV.
And I am Jonas J. Campbell, and you can find me here on That Game Place, over on That Park Place, and very often on the Pro Show. By the way, we started a new morning show over there on That Park Place today called Morning Magic. It's on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 to 12. Yes, it is insanity. It's right before the Pro Show, which is now on Thursdays and Tuesdays from noon to 2:30. That being said, thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to hit the like button. It really does help us out. I want to say thank you to everyone who super chatted today, and especially Jacob Foxfires and the Wild Man of Yavin and Tennille89. Y'all are fantastic. Culture, there's a thing that you say that ends the show. What is it?
Get your game on. Gentlemen, I'm going to ask you one more time before we jump into the Ubisoft Assassin's Creed part of the story. What do you think that they could do to actually make this work? How could they improve here? Holy edit fest, Batman. Gentlemen, I'm going to ask you one more time before we jump into the Ubisoft Assassin's Creed part of the story. What do you think that they could do to actually make this work? How could they improve here? Holy edit fest, Batman.